One Piece Manga Chapter 1121 titled, The Ebb and Flow of the Ages. In this chapter, Vegapunk's final message is revealed to the world. From there, we see various flashbacks from Kuma, Marco, and King. We also see Luffy's new combo attack against the gorosei, and lastly, the main characters of the Final Saga. You don't want to miss a single second of this peak chapter, so sit back and enjoy the rest of the video. One Piece took the front page of Weekly Shonen Jump this week with a fashionable Luffy, Nami, Chopper, and Usopp. The cover page of the chapter is a vibrant color spread showcasing the tiny Straw Hat Pirates as they surround a gigantified Nami. Everyone is enjoying summer in their own ways. Luffy, Usopp, and Jinbei are eager to lick the giant ice cream. Robin is smiling as she looks at Nami. Chopper also looks pretty excited. At the same time, Zoro is training his swordsmanship with a watermelon, while Brook sings with an enthusiastic melody. Frankie, on the other hand, rides a duck swimming floater. Meanwhile, Sanji admires Nami's beauty as he stares at her with his perverted filled eyes. The chapter begins where we left off in chapter 1120. At the northeast coast of Egghead Island, Luffy warns the giant pirates to watch out for Saturn's legs. He informs them that they are poisonous and that they should never try to touch them. At the same time, the Marines continue bombarding the giant warrior pirate ship. They continue to fire their cannons, as allowing them to escape would be an absolute failure on the Marines' part. After landing on the giant warrior pirate ship on the previous chapter, Saturn immediately tries to attack Bonney and Kuma with his spider legs. The giant warrior pirates raise their shields together to block the attack from Saturn. As they block Saturn's intense attacks, the giants agree to Luffy's earlier warning. They bear in mind that nothing good would come from touching the gorosei's legs. However, Saturn is locked in and filled with an intense desire to destroy those insects. Luffy is absolutely fired up and prepares to attack the gorosei. As Luffy spins his arms, he acknowledges that Saturn just refuses to stay down. In the next moment, his attention shifted to Bonney. As he turns around, Luffy sees Bonney mumbling while trying to get up. She successfully transforms into her Nika form again, despite her exhaustion. When Luffy saw that, he was convinced by Bonney's determination to stand up to Saint Saturn. Immediately after, Saturn directs his attack to Bonney. Luffy quickly punches one of Saturn's spider legs with his fist infused with Haki, saving Bonney in the process. Bonney then jumps above. Her determination to fight catches the attention of both the giant pirates and Saturn. Saturn is enraged. With fury burned in his eyes, he says Bonney's name. Despite huffing and wheezing due to the amount of stamina required to be in Nika form, Bonney looks ready to battle against the gorosei. Seeing this, Luffy praises Bonney. He confidently believes that she's got this from here. This is one of the traits that I love from Luffy. He had originally planned to fight Saturn, but when he saw Bonney's determination and how she wanted to stand up to Saturn, he decided to back off and block Saturn's attack, while entrusting Bonney to be the one that delivers the attack to Saturn. We've seen time and time again since the Romance Dawn arc when Koby was afraid to stand up to Alvida. In the end, because of Luffy's encouragement, Koby was able to stand up to Alvida and ultimately become a Marine captain and a hero. The scene shifts to the world's reaction to Vegapunk's message. As the video broadcast continues, Vegapunk begins his closing speech. Vegapunk declares that the Day of Awakening is upon them. He proclaims that it is on this day that the most pressing secrets of the Void Century will finally be uncovered. The scene briefly shifts to the Ryogo Palace. Shirahoshi looks surprised as she listens to Vegapunk. After all, her exposure to the world is limited, so all that Vegapunk had shared is an eye-opening experience for her. The scene briefly shifts to Morgan's headquarters. Vivi's ears are tuned in as she concentrates on the genius scientist's speech. As the broadcast continues, Vegapunk reveals a chilling truth. He says that the same weapons technology that once sank the world's continents is still in use. Vegapunk then reminds the world that this world-ending power still lies out there. The scene shifts to Skypiea. Canis and Asa visit God's shrine, the palace where Eneru and Gainfall once lived. The two deliver coffee to Wiper and the rest of the Shandorians. For those of you who may not know, here's a bit of info about Canis. After the Sky Island incident, Canis now works as a barista in a shop called Pumpkin Cafe. But because they don't have any Din Din Mushi, the residents of Skypiea are unaware of Vegapunk's transmission. In the video broadcast, Vegapunk says that the relentless persecution and slaughter of people from unique races is still happening even today. He believes they suffer from cruel treatment due to some mysterious quirk of history. Just as Vegapunk says that, we see the unconscious Kuma, and 2 short flashbacks and painful memories from different characters of unique races are shown. The first flashback shows the time when Vegapunk learned about Kuma's race. Kuma wondered why Vegapunk had been alarmed after learning he was a buccaneer. He asked the genius scientist what made his blood so special. The scene shifts to Whitebeard's hometown, Sphinx Village. As Marco sits with the villagers, listening to the Din Din Mushi, the second flashback is shown. Marco recalls the conversation he had with Whitebeard. Whitebeard was laughing and talking about the distant past. At that time, Whitebeard told him about a kingdom of gods that once existed on top of the Red Line. No doubt, Whitebeard is telling Marco about the existence of Lunarians. In the past, Lunarians were known to be a tribe of gods. They supposedly lived on the moon before descending to Earth and residing on the Red Line. However, due to the world government's efforts to annihilate the ancient kingdom, Lunarians have eventually grown extinct. The scene shifts to a dimly lit room where King is shown covered in bandages, recovering from his fight against Zoro. As the only natural Lunarian survivor himself, King reflects on the world government's atrocities. After all, they once placed a bounty of 100 million berries just to acquire any information about his race. The scene shifts to a cell in Blackbeard's warship. Pudding sits in silence as her mind drifts back to the painful memories of being bullied for her 3 eyes. So far, no one from the 3-eyed tribe has been revealed. Even though Pudding isn't a pure breed of the tribe, she is the only one with 3 eyes that has been revealed in the One Piece world. The scene shifts back to the northeast coast of Egghead Island. The battle on the giant warrior pirate ship continues. Saturn charges at Bonney as he furiously screams her name. He belittles her for being like a parrot, mimicking something she does not comprehend. In the face of the gorosei, Bonney courageously proclaims that she will bring Saturn down. Luffy believes Saturn should stop trying. With a barrage of powerful kicks, Luffy effortlessly deflects the gorosei's attacks. As impatience twists Saturn's features, Luffy lets out a heartful laugh. On the other hand, tears flow down Bonney's eyes. She remembers the first time Saturn and Kuma met each other in God Valley. At that time, Saturn tells the young boy that his fate is to live as a slave or die. The gorosei had believed that nothing else can be tolerated for someone of the buccaneer tribe. For those people to be oppressed is what the tides of time have decided. Bonney is overwhelmed by her emotions. She can't bring herself to accept what Saturn did to her father and mother, Kuma and Ginny. The scene briefly shifts to Kizaru and Sentomaru's reactions to Bonney's outburst. As he lies on the ground, Kizaru is still speechless. Meanwhile, Sentomaru wears a bitter face. Bonney then recalls Saturn's horrifying revelation. At that time, back in chapter 1103, Saturn ruthlessly admits that Ginny became a part of his drug experiments. Ginny's condition took a turn for the worse, as she contracted the sapphire scale disease, which was eventually passed down to Bonney too. Bonney refuses to accept that Saturn calls himself a god. She believes that real gods do exist, and Saturn is definitely not one. Bonney thinks of the memories she had of Kuma and Ginny. A faceless image of Ginny calling out her name flashes in Bonney's mind. Right after, a silhouette of Bonney and Kuma dancing to the drums of liberation appears. Alongside this, Kuma's wish surfaces. After all, Kuma wanted to be someone who could save people. He had longed to be a hero. As the scene briefly closes in on Kuma, Bonney declares that real heroes exist. In the next moment, Bonney cries uncontrollably. All she ever wanted was to live in peace with Kuma and Ginny. Bonney admits that living alone for so long caused her to wish for death. Even so, she kept going. Bonney recalls the time when Kuma was carrying her alongside her mother, Ginny. She remembered Kuma and Ginny thanking her for being born. As Bonney continues to cry uncontrollably, Bonney says she owes everything to Kuma and Ginny. Both of them have blessed her in so many ways. Saturn could only say the line that he knows best, as he calls them insects yet again. With tears pouring down her face, Bonney prepares for an upcoming attack. Luffy is beside her, smiling as he readies his battle stance. The scene shifts to the city of Water 7. Inside his office, Iceberg and his subordinates watch the video broadcast. As the transmissions continue, Vegapunk warns the world about the impending day of reckoning. He cautions that when the answers to history's greatest mysteries are finally revealed, everyone must be on guard to protect themselves. Vegapunk proclaims his faith in humanity's capacity for wisdom. He is convinced that no matter what happens, he will continue to believe in science. As Vegapunk says that, the scene shifts to Judge and Caesar, where the two are arguing. Caesar despises Judge's arrogance. In the past, the two worked together with Vegapunk to conduct unethical experiments behind the world government's back. They later formed Neo-Mads together, but despite their partnership, Caesar would not hesitate to call out any haughtiness he'll experience from Judge. The scene briefly shifts to Witheria Island. Herodus is attentively listening to Vegapunk's speech. Back near the coast of Egghead Island, Emmett is still locked in a fierce battle with Jupiter and Mercury. Despite the intense fight, he has yet to activate the mysterious something Joy Boy entrusted to him. At this point in the broadcast, the message begins to get distorted once again. Vegapunk reminds the world that it's been 25 years since Roger's death. He further adds that 2 years have passed since Whitebeard died at Marineford. Vegapunk then proclaims that with the passing of those legends, a new age is being heralded. Back to Luffy and Bonney. In an epic double spread, Luffy and Bonney use their new combo attack on Saint Saturn called Liberating Nika Punch. Bonney smashes Saturn's face, which reminds me of Luffy's Gear's second move, Gatling Red Hawk. Luffy immediately follows through with a barrage of punches on the gorosei. In the next moment, Saturn's body is blown to pieces. Bonney and Luffy's punches rip through the gorosei's monstrous form, leaving it riddled with gaping holes. As his legs and horns are shattered, Saturn begins to fall into the sea. Dory, Broggy, and the giant pirates raise their swords in triumph. At the same time, Bonney wails out. As her cries grow louder, Luffy cackles with laughter. He feels ecstatic that they managed to send Saturn flying. With this, Luffy gives Bonney a well-deserved good job. But as the camera closes in on Kuma, a subtle smile surfaces on his face. As the distorted broadcast continues, Vegapunk speaks about certain individuals who cannot be oppressed today. Meanwhile, Dory and Broggy notice the Thousand Sunny up in the sky. They ask the Straw Hats nearby if that's their ship. The scene shifts to the Thousand Sunny. Usopp panics as he fears the thought of dying. Thinking they're just gonna fall and perish at this rate, Usopp cries for someone's help. Meanwhile, Chopper is still clinging tightly onto Jinbei while he's maneuvering the ship.
Woo!
At the same time, Zoro holds onto his swords, preparing to unsheath it at any moment. The scene shifts to the video broadcast. Vegapunk continues his earlier statement. He reveals that those individuals who can't be oppressed are actually the ones closest to the truth. Vegapunk then wondered whether it was truly a coincidence. He also wondered if Roger actually set all of this in motion from the very beginning. The scene shifts to a flashback of the Pirate King's execution. Before he was executed, Roger urged everyone to find his treasure. The One Piece is right where he left it. The scene shifts to Shaki's rip-off bar in Sabaody Archipelago. As the drunk Rayleigh falls asleep, Shaki puts a blanket on his back. She doesn't want Rayleigh to catch a cold. The scene shifts to more pirate reactions. They are shouting in excitement at Vegapunk's revelations. They really like where this broadcast is going. Meanwhile, the pirates in Hachinosu are getting impatient. They can't wait much longer for Blackbeard to return so they can set sail. The scene shifts to Emperor Shanks' ship, the Red Force. As they listen to the broadcast, one of his crew members points out how much their boss is drinking. Despite that fact being so clear, Shanks denies that he's knocking back alcoholic drinks. Meanwhile, on Empty Bluffs Island, the pirates of the Cross Guild shout their admiration for Emperor Buggy and his connection to the true history. However, they are probably not aware that Buggy did not go to Laugh-Tale. He was ill at the time and was left on the island before Laugh-Tale. Despite that, the pirates of the Cross Guild now believe in Buggy's greatness and think he always exceeds their expectations. But as the pirates admire the great emperor, Buggy himself is baffled by their enthusiasm. He's utterly confused as to why they think so highly of him. On the other hand, Mihawk and Crocodile are getting annoyed just watching the scene unfold. The scene shifts to the Navy headquarters. The Marines have finally decided they can no longer simply stand by. Most of them are now determined to find the One Piece first. However, one Marine knows what their true duty is. If all the Marines hunt for Roger's treasure, they'll be too preoccupied to protect the common folk. As the broadcast continues, Vegapunk voices his concern. He says there's no guarantee that One Piece will be found by someone Joy Boy would want. However, there's no stopping this now. At last, Vegapunk declares that the fate of the world will be decided by whoever finds the treasure. In the chapter's final double spread, Vegapunk's sentence echoes. He declares that the world's fate depends on whoever finds the One Piece. As the message echoes throughout the air, the collage featuring the main characters of the Final Saga is shown. It begins with the four emperors, Shanks, Luffy, Blackbeard, and Buggy. The next set of panels shows the Marine Fleet Admiral, Akainu, the Revolutionary Army founder, Monkey D. Dragon, and the one who sits at the very top of the world government, Emu. We then see the next set of panels with Kobe the hero, Kuzan of the Blackbeard Pirates, Sabo the Chief of Staff of the Revolutionary Army, and Fagarland Garling of God's Knights. But in the panels, one character stands out. A silhouette of an unknown character surfaces as a caped man who holds a blade similar to Shanks' sword appears. And this is where the chapter ends. Who do you think that unknown character is? And what's your favorite part of this peak chapter? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear from you. As always, press like if you enjoyed the video, and if you don't want to miss out on future One Piece chapters like this one, definitely subscribe and hit that bell icon. There will be a break next week, so I'll catch you in the next video. Till then, thank you for watching the video, and have a great day.